Good afternoon everyone, welcome out to the bush block. Just got a bit of a project at the moment. Just putting these valves in these first water diverters. Just installed that one, make sure it's off. And installed one up the other end here, basically the same. So we can flush those out after the rain or the next day, and then unscrew that cap and clean the tube out. So we've got a couple more to do out the back. We'll go out there, undo a cap and drain the pipe, and I'll show you how I do it. So obviously that's the wet way of doing things. That's why we're putting valves in, so we can open the valve and drop the water out before we unscrew the cap. So all we want to do this, we've got a 3/4 inch threaded fitting on here, so we want to tap a 3/4 inch hole in here and tap some thread in there. But we don't have a 3/4 inch tap or threading tool, but because it's plastic, all you really need is a 3/4 inch brass fitting, like a nipple or something. I didn't have one, I've got this 3/4 inch brass float valve. And once you drill a hole out, you can cut a thread with the brass fitting in the PVC cap. I've only got a 22mm bit, which is a bit small for cutting the hole, so I've got to sand out the hole a bit. So first we'll drill a hole in the center of the cap, and we'll go from there. So there's our 22mm hole from our bit. Obviously I don't recommend holding the cap with your foot, but I'm trying to film at the same time, so that's the way it goes. So there's our hole drilled, 22mm hole in the cap there. I was holding it with my foot, I don't recommend that, and I was holding the camera with my other hand. Anyway, so that'll be a bit small. We want a 3/4 inch hole, which is around 20, what was this, inch? We want a 3/4 inch hole. As you can see, that's too big, so we'll put the sanding in and we'll sand that out a bit. So you want to drill this out, sand it out, and just make sure you don't drill too much out for the thread. Just keep checking it. Once you're fairly close, obviously you don't want to drill out too much or sand out too much. If you had the right drill bit, you'd be fine. So I'm just checking that with the brass fitting. We'll probably take out a little bit more. Just work your thread backwards and forwards, cut it out once it's started. We've got it started now. can see I've got the thread started in there, so I'll just work that in a bit. Give that a quick clean up. Try our tap thread. Well, that's screwing in there. It's a little bit crooked, but hopefully it should straighten up. I just put a bit of silicone on the thread of the valve. Just as roof and gutter silicone, any waterproof silicone. Just put a bead around there and thread that into the cap. So I've threaded that all in. Turn that valve off to smooth that silicone out. I also put a bead of silicone just on the inside thread, and I'll smooth that out as well. And that's basically it. Tap installed, and that should not leak. So I just put that back into position, screw it up tight, make sure your valve's off, and next time it rains just make sure it's not leaking, and that's all there is to it. Thanks for joining us on the Bush Block Homestead. We'll catch you again next time. See ya.